Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl, testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for clicking. My name is Monet. In today's tutorial, we are going to be making a crochet shrug. I'm making it cropped. Of course, you can make it any length you want, but I'm making it ultra cropped. Before we jump into the tutorial, I'd like to ask everyone to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. For this tutorial, I'm using Mainstays yarn. I got this yarn at Walmart. The color is brown, but honestly, it looks more grayish. I think they call this like pewter. That's the color. That's what it looks like to me, but it's brown. It's brown MS20, but that's the name of the color if you want to look it up. I really made this kind of like one size fits most, so the only measurement I really needed was a measurement around my arm, for my sleeve, and a measurement shoulder to shoulder. And the arms are meant to be big and wide. Don't really need our bust size. It's not meant to fit over your bust or anything like that. And to be clear, this is one size fits all plus size edition. Like most of my tutorials are plus size tutorials. So if you want to make this in any size, I would say smaller than a 1X, I would suggest sizing down your hook to resize. So just go down a hook size for each size you want to go down. And I also suggest having stitch markers, but I don't have any, so I'm just going to make it work. But I do suggest having them on hand if you do have them. Going to make our slip knot, and I'm going to make a chain of 90 plus 4. If you do want to change the measurements in any way, you're going to need to make a chain that is a multiple of 5 plus 4, okay? So I'm doing 90 plus 4. So let's make our chain of 90. Okay, so now I have my chain of 90 and I'm going to chain 4 more. And then I'm going to place a double crochet in the 4th chain from my hook. So I'm going to skip 3 chains and place a double crochet in the 4th chain. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the 4th chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. And then, so now technically I have 2 double crochets, and I'm going to chain 3 and skip 3 chains and place another double crochet in the 4th chain. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and in the next stitch I'm going to place another double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to skip 3 and repeat. I'm sorry, chain 3 and repeat. Chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 3 chains, and then 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to do that down the rest of my chain, and I will meet you when I get to the end of this chain. Now I am placing my last 2 double crochets in this row. Then I'm going to chain 3 and turn. So we are going to skip the next 2 stitches in that first chain stitch that we have right here, and we're going to go into the next chain stitch and we're going to place 5 double crochets. So in this chain 3 we have here, we're going right into that middle chain and we're placing 5 double crochets. Two, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then we are going to do the same thing in each chain going down. So each chain 3, we're going into the second chain and we're placing 5 double crochets, okay? And we're just doing that for the rest of the row. So this is what we have so far, okay? And you're just going to continue that going down this row. So keep going with placing 5 double crochets in the middle of your chain 3s, and I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, so I just finished my last set of 5. So I have 2 stitches remaining. That chain space, that counts as a double crochet from the previous row and a double crochet. And I am going to place my last stitch in the top of that chain space from the previous row. Like I said, that counts as a double crochet, so we're going to put our double crochet to end this row in that space, okay? All right, so that's how we're ending this row. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn. And then we're going to place a double crochet. We're going to go into the top of our first stitch from our set of 5 from the previous row. So that first stitch right there. We are placing a double crochet. And then we're going to chain 3. And then we are going to place a double crochet into the last stitch in that set of 5. So we skipped 3 stitches and place a double crochet in the 4th. And then we're going to place a double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to chain 3 again and skip the next 3 stitches and place another double crochet. And then repeat. So another double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to continue that going down. Okay, so as you can see, you're placing a double crochet. If you look at your previous row, you have these sets of 5 and you're placing a double crochet in the first and last stitch of each one of those sets, okay? And I will meet you at the end of this row. All right, so we are coming to our last 2 stitches of this row. And so for my last stitch, I'm just placing a double crochet into the top of that chain 3 from the previous row. And then I'm going to chain 3 and turn. And then we're just going to complete what we did for the last 2 rows until we have 10 rows total. Okay, y'all, so here is my first panel. I know it's kind of hard to see because my carpet is a similar color, which I see now that was a bad idea. I won't choose this color again for a tutorial. But yeah, so this is my first panel. I have 10 rows in total for this panel, and I just went ahead and completed the rest of my panels. So let me go ahead and show y'all the other 4 panels. This one is the front panel, and then I'll show you the back panel and the sleeves. Here is the back panel. So for the back panel, you're going to do the exact same thing, but you're just going to make 18 rows in total. Now here's my sleeve, and I did basically the same thing, except I started off with a chain of 85 plus 3. So I just did a few less chains at the beginning to start this, and then I did a total of 38 rows. All right, so now I've set my front panel and my back panel together. I don't have stitch markers, but what we're going to do is we're going to begin seaming the front to the back panel. So this is going to be the part that sits on our shoulder. And I'm going to seam it from here. So do you see how we have these sets of 2s? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to seam it from 4 sets in over, okay? And so then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, 4 sets in, over. And so this portion is where our neck will be out. And then I'll show you how I'm going to seam it together. Okay, so let me show you guys how I'm going to attach the yarn and seam the shoulder. And I do apologize for the noise in the background. That's my dryer. Okay, so I'm just lining it up. You can use a stitch marker if you need to, but I'm just gonna line up 4 of those sets of 2 here and here. And then I'm going to put my hook through both sides. And then I'm going to pull my yarn through and chain 1. And then I'm going to go back into that same stitch, those same 2 stitches on both sides. And I'm going to create a single crochet. Okay. And I'm going to continue doing that for the rest of the stitches. I'm going to be doing that all the way down until we get to the end here. And I'll meet you back at that point, but I'll just show you me doing this a couple more times. Okay, so now we have both shoulders seamed, and we are going to move on to the sleeves. Okay, now I lined up my sleeve. This is my sleeve here, and this is my front and back panel. So now these don't exactly line up. Like, I had it stretched out, but if I don't stretch it out, they don't really line up. So you're going to need to do that. You're going to need to make sure you stretch them and line them up. So this is going to be a little bit stretched. You could use a stitch marker if you need to do that. But I want you to keep in mind that here, these are stitches. And these are the ends of rows. So we are seaming that together. So I hope that's not too confusing. I'll show you how I'm doing it. We're seaming it the same way we did here, except these are not stitches. Now, if you want, you could use a stitch marker to help you to make sure you're stretching it out. I'm not going to need a stitch marker. I'm just going to go and make sure that it's stretching as I go. But yeah, like if you want to make sure you put a stitch marker on that end to keep it lined up, you could also do that. So I'll show you how I'm going to seam these ends of rows to these stitches. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think, but just in case, I'll show you. All right, so I'm going into this stitch, and now on the other side, like I said, these are the ends of rows, so I'm going to go through this post, the whole post here, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through, and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go through again in the same space that stitch, and also the same space where I went through the post. I'm going through there, and I'm creating a single crochet. And now I'm going to do that all the way down until we have our sleeve connected. Now, like I said, remember, this is stitches, these are the ends. So you're going to, and also keep in mind, the sleeve is wider than our panels that are connected, our front and back panels. So we're still not, you know, we have to make sure that we are stretching the panels out so that it's lining up as we go. Because you don't want to have extra when you get to the end. So I'm just going to keep going down. And I also want to mention, if it makes it easier for you, you could always just create single crochets on this side, on these rows, so that you can go through stitches on both sides. That would take up extra time and yarn, and it's not really necessary, but if it makes it easier for you, you could do that. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going, and then I will meet you at the end and show you what it's looking like. All right, so now I finished attaching my sleeve, and I'm going to fasten off. Okay, and it's all attached. Okay, so I have both sleeves attached. I can't get the full thing in the frame, but yeah, so I have both sleeves attached. So now what we have to do is just bring this over, and here we are going to seam our sleeve together, starting from here. So these are our front and back panels, and we're just going to seam it together here all the way down to the end, the arm opening. Okay, so we have to seam this whole part together. Okay, and we're literally doing the same thing. Now these are going to be two ends of rows, but they should match up because it's the same sleeve, so it's going to match up, not like how it was before. So I don't really know if you guys need me to show you how to do that, but I can. Oops, guys, see, this is what happens. I almost made a mistake. Very important, very important. This needs to be inside out, of course. Oh my goodness, I almost seamed it on the wrong side. I would have been so upset. Oh my goodness. Okay, now, oh my gosh. Rookie mistake. So now I'm going through this side next to the seam, and now through this side next to the seam. Am I in the right spot? Yep. And then now we're on the right track. So now I'm pulling my yarn through, chaining one, and then I'm going back through and I am just single crocheting, and I'm gonna do that all the way down. All right, so I will see y'all when we reach the end of our sleeve right here. I'll meet you there. All right, so we have this sleeve I just finished and I fastened off, and now you're gonna do the other side and then you will be done. So we're just gonna have to do the other side and then turn it inside out. Okay, y'all, so here is the finished product. We are done. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this project, and if you make this, please don't forget to tag me. I want to see your creations. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye.